give us your impression of what you've seen so far on the CPL 4 games in, or yeah, 4 games in?
Well, it actually comes back, to what it's many of the things that we have talked about over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the question has to be, what is the solution? Because nothing that is being addressed by IGA or any one of us is anything new. There is a lack of a plantation or foundation system to ensure that we develop talent that moves up. So every time you look at a team, you say that there are players who should be there and there are players who should have been relegated. But there's no clear pathway that we have, unless we are going to make a different tiers for the cricket community. So you have, like in soccer, you have a plantation system where you have people get moved from level 1 team to level 3, from level 3 to level 2, level 2 to level 1, based on their performance. So that as time goes along, it ensures that those who are performing, they get rewarded. But if you're going to have players completely missing from an island, who spectators think should have been included, you're turning off the spectators. And so the question is, do they just want to win, or do they want to build? Do they want to build the sport? And I say this because the cricket show, among with other shows right now, have a responsibility to promote cricket in a way that is acceptable to a new audience. And even as we spoke about coaches and their responsibility, whether or not we are going to demand that cricket make some changes to what they have been doing for the last 500 years. Because every other sport we have a coach on the sideline, from soccer to basketball to baseball. You call them managers most of the time. And they have an input into what is going on the field or in the game every minute of the game. Because you can tell a player to do something, and when he gets on the court or in the field, he forget everything you told him. And you have to call him over or substitute him out of the game. America is accustomed to that in soccer, substitution, basketball substitution, baseball, designated hitter comes into the game, substitution. So when you bring cricket to this platform and you see a player dives for a ball, breaks his arm, you say you can't substitute him, you can't substitute anyone for him, because the way cricket is established for 500 years, you don't substitute. That is madness. Okay? That is madness, because the spectators, they want to see the best player at that time on the court, and an injured player does not cut it, especially when there are people in Vegas and other places betting on the game. Okay? This is how the platform for different sports is established. And if cricket does not make some adjustment to satisfy the structure, then it is not gonna fly. Okay, that's all. I agree with the comments made about the lack of younger players being injected into the sport, because eventually you're gonna turn them off. And more people will not be encouraged to come into the sport because they don't see the progression that's taking place, or the water being refreshed on a consistent basis. Okay, that is my spin on that.
All right, thank you there, Trevor. No, of course I'm sorry.
But can I add something there?
Yes.
Because in the next, over the one-day tournament, they're going to be having substitutes for external injuries. So they're going to try something. like what we saw in the last test match in England, and during the series with Pant, was not able to bat. And well, he batted, but all broken up with a broken leg, broken foot, and he had walks. Same thing. They're gonna change that, so it's in his trial form. India starting it. The ICC has indicated to teams that are playing, these 2 days and 3 day matches to start implementing it. Once it works there, they will make that change, which I think should be made. External injuries only, not no hamstring injury and stomach hurting and all that stuff. So that's in effect.
So what's to stop a player from informing of an internal or external injury, which is clearly not?
No, you have to be medically assessed and approved.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Your external thing has to be, for instance, Pant with a broken foot.
So, okay.
X-ray would reveal that is broken.
Mm-hmm.
He would have a replacement, and you'll have to name a replacement prior for the toss anyway. Only the wicket keeper they don't have to name if you're going to substitute the wicket keeper. That's in the India playing conditions for the next tournament.
All right. I appreciate it.
And Dennis, if I may make a comment, we have to promote the integrity of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We cannot be worried about the 1 or 2% who might cheat. We have to focus on the 98% who plays the game the right way. Because in every capacity, in every business, from banking to politics, you name it, there's a little corruption always popping up into the system. But we have to trust in the integrity of the game and make sure we have organizations like Cricket Hall of Fame who will ban a player from ever being inducted into this Cricket Hall of Fame if he cheats, just like baseball did with Pete Rose. Okay, you set standards for your sport, and you tell people who want to participate as professionals that if they don't abide by the standards, they get banned. Okay, for life, and that will you have to police the sport to the extent that the integrity is what's going to appeal to people. Okay?
Thank you. We appreciate that. And very recently, we saw that the ICC had actually instituted a ban on a player for match fixing or attempt at doing so. And, it just takes one, and it's insidious and it's not done so openly. But the fact of the matter is, once it gets into the game, the fabric of the game, it can certainly spoil this game. Leon, you have a point you want to make?
Yes, I am keeping what the conversation has been all about. I welcome the appointment of young Patel. This guy was not born in England. England has 2 foreign leaders in Stokes, foreign born, and Patel now. And Patel has been trusted among millions or hundreds of thousands of players. That is a magnificent, outstanding achievement. We saw how he performed the last test match. He was as if he did not know how to make a stroke. But England saw something in him, and they have decided to put him ahead of other players, even on a trial. That is a big, big, big honor. And I praise them for doing that. And I don't see why West Indian can't do it likewise. They have players out there, and let our players shake up.
Yeah.
Shake up. If you have a player outside and he's willing to give the time and the energy and the substance to play for us and play hard, and we can get improvement, we'll have to do something. We can't do the same thing and expect to get a different result. West India has got to seek the players. If those guys want to go to AP, IPL, or Pakistan Super League or wherever, let them go.
Yes.
And if we see players who want to play for us, bring them in. So be it.
It's not so cut and dry. But anyway, we'll get back to that, I'm sure. But before we go any further, I will approach Brother Dale for his impression on CPL thus far before we go into
Okay.
Brother Dale?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. CPL is what it is, entertainment. It is not created to nurture or to build anything except to entertain and make money, both for the players and for the owners. The owners of these teams, we must recognize who they are. They are not West Indians. Their interest is not West India's interest. And it is unbelievable that we, as a region, we love to point fingers at each other and say we are wrong about this and we are wrong about that. But you look at the CPL, who owns the CPL franchises? That's question number one. Who owns them? I can assure you no entity in the Caribbean owns them. So why should those people then care about who plays for which franchise? They don't. So unless somehow we get some modicum of control where we say this is what we have things in place, by the way, where, for example, one emerging player must be in the squad from the West Indies emerging player. No more than 5 foreign players should be in the starting 11. And you have measures like that to make sure that you do get some involvement. But the ownership and the ones making the laws are not West Indians. And it's a franchise, it's franchise cricket. At this point in time, you cannot compare it with football, which is governed by one entity worldwide, and they make sure that there's a window open where all players must represent their country at all times. They cannot not just don't play unless, of course, they are injured. But in cricket, we are so far behind the 8 ball that we don't have anything like that in place because the ICC really and truly does not have the governance power that FIFA and other world organizations have for their sport. So for me, the CPL, it's business as usual, wonderful entertainment. We see poor fielding, poor decision making, but who cares? You're entertained at the end of the day, and I imagine that's what matters. And we see teams with 2 or 3 West Indies wicket keepers in the team, and you wonder what's the long-term plan. Obviously, the long-term plan for the franchise does not align with the West Indies plan for that player. I see Joshua De Silva, for example, playing on a team, but he's not the designated wicket keeper. So he's just playing as a batter, and 7 people batted and he didn't bat as yet. So you wonder what is he really in the team for, and how does it help West Indies cricket? And I'll just add just quickly with the substitution. We will have to just emphasize that substitutions are allowed in cricket. However, they compromise, and the substitution is only for concussion. The full substitution is for concussion purposes. Case in point, Labuschagne from Australia made his test debut when Steve Smith had a concussion during a test match. He was allowed to substitute fully, meaning he was able to bat or bowl. In cricket now, you can get a substitute in, but he can't bat or bowl. So that's a partial substitution. So that has to be addressed, because if a man has a concussion, which it's not subjective, but it is more subjective than a broken foot, how can you allow the man with the concussion to be substituted fully, meaning his replacement can bat and bowl? But a man with a broken foot, a fracture in his foot, or a dislocated shoulder, you do not allow the same for him. That is a flawed, very flawed approach, I believe. So that's my
Thank you very much, Brother Dale. We'll perhaps continue this discussion, but now that Coach Patel has joined us, Coach, can you give us your report, please, on the 19 World Cup qualifier matches that you've been attending?
Well, first of all, this is about under 19 World Cup qualifier for the Americas region. It was held at Paramveer Sports Complex in Rydell, Georgia, which is about 60 minutes north of Atlanta. The 4 teams participated are USA, Canada, Bermuda, and Argentina. All 4 teams have to play 2 games against each opponent in a round-robin league. Means every team has played 6 games. And it's a good turnout about this tournament that most of the games has been played except one, and that is the where outcome is changed. Maybe not as expected by, let's say, straightforward Canada, because they missed out that 1 point to tie up and stay in competition. And so Argentina and Bermuda did okay, but the 2 front runners are, as expected, USA and Canada. At the end of this tournament, Canada is lost the opportunity to qualify, where we can congratulate USA under 19, because now they are going for 2026 under 19 World Cup.
Done.
They win all 6 games in this tournament. So I will definitely run down just brief course on each game, starting from day 1. It was first game was, by the way, they used the 2 grounds. So the 4 teams are playing at same time. So I will definitely run down with the games involving USA and Canada. The day 1, the first game was USA versus Canada, and USA started well as expected, and they end up winning by 65 runs. USA scored 236 for 6 in 50 overs. In reply, Canada turned out 171 for 9 in 50 overs. The major contributor from the USA side is Amrinder Singh Gill, 76 runs off 144 balls, whereas Sahars Svethan scored 52 runs. On the Canadian side, there was not much impact besides the Yuvraj Samra, who bowled 9 overs, 2 mid and 35 dot balls, 37 runs and 2 wickets. And that was a good beginning, as I said, for this tournament. On day 2, USA won by 204 runs against the Bermuda. USA scored 310 for 9 in 50 overs, whereas Bermuda was bowled out for 106 in 32.2 overs. Again, the Amrinder Singh Gill scored 102 runs off 122 balls, and it was well supported by Sahil Garg, who put on 68. Also, Sahars Swetham again scored 69. So there are some major contributors in the USA's lineup. So even they do not start well at the top, we have the middle order who can balance out the side. And eventually, as I said, USA beat Bermuda by 204 runs. On the other ground, it was Argentina versus Canada. And this is the first game. Canada won by 10 wickets. Argentina was bowled out for 23 in 19.5 overs. And Canada scored 62 for 2 in just 4.5 overs. The major wicket taker from the Canada side was Jagmandeep Singh Paul, who bowled 5 overs, 3 mid and 28 dot balls, 7 runs for 6 wickets. Going on next day, the third day, USA won by 9 wickets against Argentina. Argentina was all out for 19 runs in 10.3 overs, USA scored 24-1 in just 14 balls. The major impact in this game was Suprans Kumar, who bowled 4 overs, 1 maiden, 19 dot balls, 7 runs, and 3 wickets. Where Sabrish Prasad, 4 overs, 2 maiden, 20 runs, 20 dot balls, and 8 runs for 3 wickets. On the other ground, Bermuda versus Canada. Canada won by 8 wickets. Bermuda was all out for 60 runs in 16.4 overs, whereas Canada's 24 no loss in just 5 balls. Going up further, Bermuda versus USA. Again, USA beat Bermuda this time by 7 wickets. Bermuda was all out for 55 runs in 32.5 overs, and USA scored 56 for 3 in 6.4 overs. And this is the critical game on that third day on the other ground, Argentina versus Canada. Canada came out and batted for 360 for 9 in 42 overs. And when Argentina came back into the batting, it was 16 for 1 in just 1.5 overs. And then the rain came out. And after the rain, they had a ground situation where lightning struck more often. And because of that, they could not finish game. And eventually, umpire declared abandoned the game. And this is the stage, I will say, turnaround in tournament. If Canada had scored win over the Argentina in that particular game, then they had a chance to come out Saturday, the final day, and beat USA and may have a chance to go by net run rate, but it did not happen. In the contribution, Aryan Sidhu scored 85 runs, Shivam Sharma scored 65, Yuvraj Samra scored 60 runs for Canada. On the fifth day, we can say Argentina versus USA. The only importance in that game was if the USA beats, they are going through as a qualified for the final, and that is what it's happened. USA beat Argentina by 9 wickets. Argentina was all out for 34 runs in 15.5 overs. USA scored 35 for 1 in just 6.1 overs. The major contributor in that game was Sahir Bhatia, the left-arm spinner, who bowled 4.5 overs, 1 over, 23 dot balls, 5 for 9. That's what his bowling analysis. And that turned out to be 3 points ahead of Canada. So even the Canada beat USA in final game, they are still going through because of the points. On the other ground, Bermuda versus Canada, it was a tough competition for the Canada. They eventually won by 13 runs with the DL method. Canada was 147 all out in 39 overs. And Bermuda, when stoppage came out, they were 96 for 6 in 34.4 overs. Last day was kind of formality. USA again beat Canada. Canada was all out for 94, and USA chased down that target. But again, as I said, that was completely a formality, and Canada could have done well to come out with a consolation win in this tournament, but did not happen. On the other side, Argentina was. So eventually, we had a very good tournament at the Paramveer Sports Complex. And again, it's a home crowd who cheer up for the USA, but they are 100% qualified for the 2026 Under-19 World Cup from the Americas region.
And
Thank you, Coach. Much disappointment with the performance of the team from Bermuda because, you know, they are a team that sold on cricket, and I'm happy to see Argentina there because obviously it indicates that the game is spreading farther and farther, and we hope to see them improve the next time round. But it is good news for the USA that they've qualified for the Under-19 World Cup, which is due to take place next year, Coach?
Yes, and this is a kind of a good positive thing for our region. where Bermuda and Argentina come out to compete, but don't have enough strength to compete against the USA team in this particular format. And the good thing about we have some other contenders like Panama, Costa Rica, and I believe Brazil. Those are the other teams are looking into this competition. But when you're relying on just one or two good players who can perform, and if you do not have the bench strength or the other team support, particularly in this kind of tournament, and that is the where follow-up begins. But another good point is, especially for Argentina and Bermuda in this particular tournament, is to gain experience. It's not about loss. They can understand what happened, why it happened, and there is always room to come back with the improvement.
Thank you there, Coach. Now, let's turn our attention
Any
to...
comments, Coach?
Okay, go ahead, Leon.
I don't know if you're going to take question off this topic, but about the Asian Cup.
Go ahead.
Coach, you laugh. Why do you laugh? Because Sirag and the captain is not going. But I'm glad to see that India is going to be playing, and they're going to be playing even though it's in foreign territory. And what is the story behind Bumrah?
Keep the finger crossed. Keep the finger crossed. It's just we seen in World Cricket League in England, which is the Legends Cup. Basically, the retired cricketers represented their country and played in this tournament. Everything was going well. Everyone was even expecting that India will play Pakistan. And at the end time, I will say on a game day in the morning, India team decided we are not playing. So in
what you
this
saying,
particular,
India may pull out?
as I said, keep the finger crossed because there's a lot of pressure from the government, and I believe, in my opinion, let's take it this way. I will say players will back out. They says we don't want to play. Board is doing their job. Government may be doing job. But the things are whatever is happening in last few months is carrying over. And I believe if some of the players says, okay, we are ready to play, then it can be a lot of social issues at home in terms of the relations, fan base, because the momentum is on the other side. People don't want to see India playing Pakistan. And again, it's my opinion. It will become to the players on that day. Do they want to take the field? To me, I will say, just like the legends did, just walk away and let have the Pakistan as a walkover.
And another question to the panelists is that young Brevis, the South African, has been, in the news. He's been beating the ball like if he were there before. I just hope that, West Indies can produce a player or two like him. I don't know if you've seen him.
I can add to that one. It's not just South Africa. As this event concluded here in Atlanta, under 19, I can see the talent. There is a couple of batters in Canada who can really do well at this young age. There is a potential in even Argentina and Bermuda. The young kid can go a long way. USA sum up with performance, and you can say out of the roster, there are 6 or 7 good players who can be ready to go next level. And overall, if you look at India, there's a plenty of talent out there, even in under 19. And going back to the CPL, I hear that what was going on in discussion, and I will say it's a time for CPL a change. Yeah. The major change is needed in 2 factors. One is definitely the money part, which is everyone is behind right now, right? The pay scale need to go up. More the years we carry on, you can continue same old paycheck. Everyone need to have that some kind of dividend or promotion and that sort of things. And number 2 is definitely If we look at the IPL, last year they put together a young kid, 13, 14-year-old kid, and is coming into the game and making the huge impact. It's not about giving a chance to the youngster. I would say it can be a win-win situation for West Indies. One side, we are giving the opportunity to the potential player to be in this league at early age, so they can be motivated to do well. But at the same time, this is the same example can inspire another 50 or 100 kids to do well. Because sports is all about dream and hope, if you understand right. It's all about dream, playing at the higher level, and hope to become a hero. And if you can't put those statements in the young one's head, we're going nowhere. And that is what the major change is needed. It's not about trying same old player or same existing players. And it doesn't matter how good the decision is, how someone can be interested to coming into the international arena with the platform they have provided. So then, in my opinion, money is the part, and the second part is definitely opportunities and chances to the some good under 19 potential players is a key to see the future in next season.
Thank you, Coach.
Dennis, I'd like to make a observation.
Yes, go ahead.
Jatin, the scores that you gave for the, for the games that were played sort of reflected baseball scores. Okay. That is, are we introducing ODI or 20 over as the standard for American sport, in light of the fact that the average baseball game lasts about 2.5 hours, the average basketball game lasts 2.5 hours, and the average football game lasts 2.5 hours?
Yes.
What are the possibilities that Test cricket will ever be accepted? We have, you talk about 5 days. If we are launching the platform, with ODI.
I will say eventually, the way if you look at it overall about sponsorship, players' interest, the money, everything is going towards the T20. And I will not be surprised in next 3 years, it can escalate the another sort of version of the game called a T10, or some say 60 something. But that is the one need to be. And I'm 100% agree on your comment about baseball, soccer, football, any sport if you look at it. I believe there are more than 30 team sports around the world. Most of them have, remember my word, the action time when ball is moving or the play is on is always less than 90 minutes. That does not include the timeout, breakouts, or inning breaks and those. Now, if the cricket cannot compete, the first thing, the time demand, and the second is the fans' interest to have the quick entertainment every moment if they can.
Right.
We're going nowhere. And that is the reason if someone is telling in USA about Test cricket, I say, hey, you enjoy whatever you can see from around the world. USA did not play cricket for that major reason, the Test cricket. They call it a picnic cricket for 5 days. We don't have time for it. Even in 1845, we don't have time. Do you think we have time today? I doubt it. And by the way, in this land of opportunity, they call it, this is the sports heaven, the largest market on the planet for the sport. And if you want to compete, or if you want to be in a market in this particular area, then you have to come out with something. Let me tell you one thing. The college has a 24 sports without cricket. High school has a 19 sport without cricket. In this country, before the major league and minor league started, we already have 24 major like NFL, NBA, MLB, MLC. I can keep counting where we stand. We have to compete them first. Number two, even you compete, make sure you are better than that. And that's only way you can establish a stack of this market.
Right.
And do I have to say anything about the World Cup? What we hear, they launched something in a pop-up stadium in New York. Then they had some games. What we end up? If you can't generate money, if you can't create a profit, we're going nowhere. Absolutely. For the cricket, whatever we do in last 10 years, especially in US, it's all about developing the game, helping to get the foundation going. And I believe that is the where we slow down and we are still in the same process of developing this game.
Can you please mute in the background if you're not speaking? We're getting some bleed over from, somebody's radio TV program. Thank you there for that discussion. But I have a question for our brother Dale. Maybe he, I suspect, will have the answer. Champions League T20. That used to be a international tournament of IPL type franchises coming together for a number of years. Do you know anything about this, and can you tell us what exactly was going on there?
Yes, I'm sorry, Sir Dennis, not much. I know it started maybe 10, 15 years ago. But as far as what they are doing, I don't know. It's the international, it's the internet getting all these champions from the different leagues together, I imagine. But I haven't heard anything updating or any plans for it.
Okay, let's see if Coach Patel can.
I can add to that. Originally, when we had a handful of T20, like a Pakistan, India, Bas League, and England, and that is the point. I think it was also one from South Africa, and that is the where they created T20 Champions League. Means every champion from those T20 world used to come out and figure out who is the best one out of that.
Okay.
And I believe, again, and in my opinion, it did not go well for two reasons. We don't have enough teams. Now we got plenty of them. You have CPL, GPL, GT20, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. We got plenty of them now. So not sure how you can put that many teams as a scheduled window to play. And number two, let's say one quick example I can give you. That is where I feel like this is kind of a little bit complicated to get going with it. Let's say CPL champion, for example, Barbados, let's say, just for example. And if you look at the IPL Mumbai Indians, let's take it simplest way. The problem is, the major problem, all those West Indians players or any foreign players who is playing for Mumbai Indians, those are also playing in a CPL with a different shirt.
Yes.
So if they have to face each other, one of the team has to find secondary players to fill up that roster. And that is the where competition loses the quality. Because whoever is a champion, they are not coming and put together those champion 11 players for this tournament. And all of a sudden you see 4 or 5 new faces who did not play that final to become champion. But at this point, ICC is reconsidering that championship. We may have it in 2027, let me tell you, with some tweaks. And I think behind the screen, one conversation was putting the criteria for the players. Let's say Heath played the 2 teams,
Yes.
championship in West Indies and championship in IPL. Now we all understand. We better give the freedom to Hetmeyer and let him play whatever he wants to do.
Okay.
Right? But that's not easy. So what I hear, the criteria may come. Again, keep the finger crossed. Idea may come. Hetmeyer has to play the champion team which won the championship first. Because it's all tournaments in calendar year. Someone is become champion in April, someone to become champion in August. So it makes more sense. You go with your first team, not the second team.
Okay, well.
And that's not the solution again, I will say. But the think tank has to figure out players playing criteria in that Champions League.
So that would be the fly in the ointment.
Revisions are coming. Believe it or not, revisions are coming, and what they learned from that first two events, I think it's way before Corona. They haven't done anything, but now they are revisiting that one to keep the more excitement. And another good thing is we are looking at this tournament is going in a different place. If it is go back to India, Australia, England, it is heavy anyway in terms of bringing fans and people enjoying this entertainment. But if it is go to the new country, let's say USA, it can be a good, powerful tool to promote and market cricket.
So who is the official host of this Champions League T20?
It is just like our World Cup and Champions Trophy. ICC has to go through the protocol and process they have in place. Means the country has to compete to host them. It is called their interest. They have to put in writing like, hey, we can host this 2027 tournament or 2029 tournament, and they have that criteria, and they usually select the country who will be hosting. ICC don't host anything. ICC is just manage, operate, and execute the plans, but the host will be the country who can take care of this event, provide the grounds, provide all logistics needed for the players and administrators, staffs, officials, everything. And at the same time, ICC look into the interests of broadcasting rights and other things, including sponsors. So long story short, it's basically wide open at this point. But I will not be surprised about this level of tournament going in a 4-country only. Believe it or not. It may be India, maybe Australia, maybe England, or maybe South Africa. By the way, Australia, England, and South Africa, including India, they are all weather concerned countries. There are a couple of months in a year you can play cricket there. Like India has a crazy monsoon. You can play between June to almost end of August. So again, we have to wait and watch. There is a communication already is there. And I believe they are trying to sort out what can be the next format, where it can be, and what will be the criteria for the players and everybody else.
So let's hear the views of our panels.
Yeah, Mr. Heath, just to add something there.
Yeah.
The last edition was over 10 years ago.
Yep.
And it failed because of the television rights, because that's very important. If somebody pays for it and they don't believe they are getting returns for their money, they will pull out, and that's why it had to stop. It was only held in 2 countries. 90% of it was in India, and one time it was held in South Africa. But at that time, we have to remember, up to 2014, 2013, how many leagues did we have worldwide? Now it has grown tremendously. And the ICC, they're planning to have the next edition in 2026.
2026?
2026. They're already making plans for that.
Okay.
You know, and just a quick caution, this is where we get back into the problem of the window that's available for international cricket. This is cutting into it once again, and it's only for entertainment. It's not built in the manner in which it ought to be built.
So once again, if that window gets cramped, Test cricket will probably be also very much affected, because Test cricket takes the most days out of the calendar when they're being played. I mean, you're talking about 5 days, unless Test cricket's shortened to 3 and 4 days. Anyway, let's see. Leon, what do you think of this idea of a Champions League 20 T20?
The question remains whether there is going to be enough space in the calendar to house them.
But
I think he's good. But where are they going to be playing? What time are they going to occupy?
To be decided.
Undecided.
Yes, all right. Just the idea.
But we know for sure that the IPL is sure, and I understand that Brevis has been signed by CSK, and Ashwin is obviously not satisfied. So I don't know if they have left him out, but Jatin might be able to tell us whether or not Brevis has just come in and used up too much of the funds from CSK. So now they may not offer him a contract or a minor contract.
Another concern is schedule-wise. If you look at until 1980, particularly towards the test match, we only had 6 countries were playing test cricket. You can easily name. Until 1980, it was like Australia, New Zealand, England was 3rd, 4th was India, 5th was Pakistan, and 6th was West Indies. These are the only 6 countries played the test until 1982. And that is where they added the 7th member, Sri Lanka. By the 91-92, South Africa was bring back into the cricket mode. And at the same time, we had a new member called Bangladesh. Right? And then later, after I think around Corona, in last 10 years, we got Ireland, Afghanistan. So if we combine together, whatever the schedule we had in 70s, only 6 countries were playing test cricket without ODI and T20. Remember that? And now we are looking at the 12 test nations. We got a more ODI, an unbelievable schedule tight situation for the T20. So if you look at all this combination and the schedule headache, I believe ICC is eyeing to let it go multiple tests on a same day. 2 countries playing today in New Zealand, Australia. 1 is playing India something. 3rd one is playing in West Indies. So this is not a schedule like old days where we used to have a 1 unique test and no one else is playing. It's gone. And now because of these number of countries playing T20, 114 altogether, they are not restricting T20 on any given day for the calendar. Test cricket stays there with their schedule, but unfortunately, T20 goes without any restrictions and limit, and that is where we are losing the test players to play T20.
All right, Trevor, what's your thoughts on the Champions League of T20s? You're muted, Trevor.
Well, I am not a fan of the T20. I never grew up with T20. So for me, it's a new wine in an old wine bottle. But the discussion that's taking place is not even addressing the presence or the emergence of women's cricket. Okay? That you cannot be discussing cricket, but you're only discussing men's cricket. Okay? Because the fans that we are appealing to, those fans have an interest in cricket, and you cannot be, and it's not a one-sided interest that they have. Women's cricket is getting like women's soccer to be very popular. Okay, and if you're having a discussion and you're not even mentioning the greater part of our population, then we're barking up the wrong tree. But I think that you need competition for change to take place. You must have competition. It has taken place in all other sports. In basketball, you had the ABA and the NBA. The baseball, you had the league and the Negro League. You must have representation, okay, that demands respect for you to have change. And ICC, after 500 years, you know, they are like the king and the queen of England. They serve no purpose, that they're still king and queen. Okay, so I'm just saying that I think that the world has changed. You know, we have gone from donkeys to planes, and from planes to trains to planes. All across the world, changes have taken place, and cricket is not prepared to make any changes. Okay, we now have an internet. We never had it 500 years ago. Does cricket recognize that? Are the boards that are heading up these organizations, do they recognize that? That the fans, if the game is not about the fans, then you're wasting time. And if the fans demand a certain type of presence where cricket is concerned, and they don't address it, then cricket is gonna die a slow death, because ODI is not gonna last without test cricket. Okay, because test cricket is the integrity of the game. We're listening to the youth under 19, and everybody goes outside there swinging for the bleachers, and you bowl out a team for 19 runs. Nobody protects the wicket. Nobody practices the strokes that you have to play in order for you to respond to a specific pitch that is bowled by the bowler. Okay? Everything that comes at them is just something that they're looking to get a six. And there are certain pitches from the bowler that they would like you to go for a six, because they know that you're going to be out. And nobody practice pitches, the drives, sweep. Once in a blue moon, a guy might decide to do a sweep and he never practice it. He just decides that at this time he's going to do a sweep. Okay? Cover drive, he doesn't practice it. When I say practice, do you have somebody bowling to you for 1 hour where you're practicing cover drives?
Right.
So that you market that stroke. Okay? So when you decide to use it, it's not a hit or miss. We don't see that. And that's a question we have to ask ourselves is, are we looking to preserve the integrity of the sport, where the reason why you have those drives and those shots is because they are part of the game that you must use to respond to a spin, a leg break, a off break, whatever the pitch is. Certain pitches requires that you know certain strokes in order for you to defend the wicket. And when you find one pitcher one batter is consistently bowled by a pitcher from the other team because he knows his weakness. He knows his weakness. And they bring him in to face this batter, and he gets him out. That needs show that we are not studying the game.
All right. Thank you. Ivor.
Dennis, can I just...
1 second, let's see if Ivor has a comment on this.
No, what Mr. Sosa was just said, so I don't know if you allow me to do that. So, did I hear him say that test cricket
Okay.
not going to last without T20 or vice versa?
Without test.
You said T20 is not going to last? That's what you said? Am I sure I'm hearing it correct?
He said the 50 over game.
Yeah. The 50.
Last without test cricket.
Oh.
Okay. Ivor, your comment on the Champions League T20?
Rubbish to even think about it.
Okay.
The same cricketers are playing in Australia, in South Africa, CPL, IPL. You're asking them to do foolishness that Bravo said when he found favors with prime ministers. He said, my first team is Mumbai Indians, then Queen's Park, then West Indies. That's what you're going to be asking people to do up front. So you're not doing anything for the game when you're going to do that. Because the same cricketer is going to play for and against. And then you're going to ask him to take a choice. Well, which one are you going to play for now? Next year, you're going to get a contract when you choose the CPL team and didn't choose the India team. So it's a non-starter to even think that. You have rubbish cricket, 2020 cricket, I'm going to say that. It's just for entertainment. It shouldn't even be named cricket. The real cricket, like the previous caller would have said, is the testing of the mind, the stamina, the endurance, the everything. Test cricket. And if you're going to play the 50 over cricket, which is next in line, that's fine. But to tell me you're going to have a championship, there's no room in the calendar for it. That's number one. There's none whatsoever. So don't bother to think about that. That's my take on that.
Thank you. Donna, do you have any comments on a Champions League of T20?
T20,
Don?
No,
No. All right.
no, I said already, that's in the past. T20 is an entertainment game, but the serious versions of the game is the longer version, the one day and the test cricket.
Yes.
Some persons are believing that they will phase out, but I don't think so. I think we'll have all three formats for a long time. That's what I think.
All right. Okay, well, we're running out of time. Let's ask for your final word on it, Brother Dale. How, shall we say, how excited are you about the possibility of the T20 Champions League?
That's for me?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely not excited at all. You know, I don't need it, the entertainment factor. I want to watch meaningful cricket. If we intend to grow the sport, it has to be done with a solid business module, but also a solid foundation to introduce it to new audiences. But for the time being, they better make sure that they retain the audience that they have now today. It is being played in several areas, especially in this country. No one speaks about it. For example, in New York, we have a Cricket Hall of Famer who heads up the cricket in the high schools in New York, and we don't really speak about it, and we really don't know anything about it. But it's there. He's the commissioner. He's the big wig, if you want to call it that. And we need to promote the sport from our perspective. Wherever it is we go in the world, we must promote the sport from the Caribbean perspective. Everybody else does it from their own perspective. And the cultural construct, we have to follow and create our own. So I'm not overly excited with it. When I feel like seeing some excitement and craziness going on, sure, it's like the WWE.
All right, thank you. All right, Donna, not Donna, I'm sorry. Murtris, you've heard the discussion. Are you excited about T20 Champions League?
Not really, no. I don't get really to see the games much anyway, so I'm just gonna stay neutral.
All right, thank you. All right, Coach, can you wrap this up in terms of what are the real possibility? Are we likely to see it next year or 2 years from now?
It doesn't matter to me, but I'll definitely concern about quantity and quality. You can't compromise either one, but in order to maintain the quality, you must contain quantity. Cut down the number of games of year. That will help the players to perform. That will help the fans to come out with the healthy pocket. If you are putting 10 T20 in a small town, you might go well in first 2 or 3 games. After that, fans will drain out. So they have to be careful on that side. But overall, anything happens for good, it's a good. We need more competition, that's for sure, because that will increase the participation and engagement at all levels. But at the same time, we need to see, is it going to sustain?
Now, the one factor that you mentioned earlier is the fact that they may well play more test matches in different regions on the same day. But now, isn't that not introducing a new competition between the digital form, the TV rights? How do they decide which one they want to carry?
It's a very difficult to say from our standpoint, because even in the test, we are also concerned about two divisions. They might split the countries into the two groups or something like that. Even we also hear about test match of 3 days or 4 days, depends on who is competing, that sort of things. So there's a lot of changes are coming, and I'm always up for the change. The world has changed. 30 years back, we don't have internet, we don't have cell phones, but we all adopted. And so does the sport. If the cricket has to do well over every other game out there, they must make more positive changes for multiple reasons. But the biggest one is fan engagement.
All right, thank you. And that sounds like, Leon, let me give you your opportunity to say your final words on this before we close the show.
It was a wonderful show. Enjoyed it immensely. My take on the whole matter, I don't care what is whatever match is being played, but I think my view is that we should concentrate on putting 50 overs and T20 in the emerging countries and help to build the countries that are struggling like the West Indies. They need funds enough to have it to pay players that they don't want to migrate and leave the country and play for their country, but they don't have the funds. And a player will jump from here to here, there. And if you were to get the kind of money to keep him, and West Indies cricket will at least improve. World without West Indies cricket is not the same in my view, and I think it's so worldwide as well. So I want to see West Indies cricket grow, and whatever improvement or any other innovation they're going to put, just put them in other emerging countries and build them up, and West Indies can rank with the others and compete and win. And that's my take.
Thank you very much, Leon. And now I want to take this opportunity to thank all those who've spent their evening with us here. It's very special hello and thank you to the listeners there on 2020 Vision Radio in St. Kitts and Nevis. We thank the Caribbean Global Voices for being a part of this group with us. And we thank the SosoFat Media Network also for joining us this afternoon. Thank you all. I say a special thank you to Hyacinth, and of course, once again, ask for her forgiveness for my tardiness in not getting her the assignment. Thank you for staying up with us, Hyacinth. We appreciate it. Thank you to Donna and Mertris. Once again, we appreciate your contributions, and to Brother Dale and Trevor, and of course, Coach Patel. Thank you all. And of course, to our listeners there on the YouTube channel, we thank you for being part of it. We hope you enjoyed it. We encourage you to, subscribe and become part of the Cricket Show. And I remind you to join us next Sunday.